Right. Naspers is South Africa's largest company. Everybody knows that. They own like Tencent in China, a big chunk of it, and then also Delivery Hero in Europe, and what's the other piece? OLX, yes, the thing you use to sell crap that you don't need anymore. Anyway, they are listing a part of the business on the Euronext in Amsterdam because they want to unlock the discount in value that occurs between the value of those holding, whatever. They're listing it, and because of some shit old dinosaur rules that are imposed on them by the stock exchange here in Johannesburg, they had to send every single shareholder a prospectus. What is a prospectus? It's something from the Dark Ages, like a dromedary or a saber-toothed tiger. A prospectus is a big fat printed book that you have to send to somebody in the snail mail using a big envelope and a stamp. The kids watching this won't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they decided to give this task on an outsourced basis to their transfer secretary, which is a company here called Link Market Services. So they sent them the file which had the names of the shareholders and their addresses. But unfortunately, Link Market Services fucked the whole thing up and sent envelopes to the wrong person. So like if you were a shareholder, you got it and it was addressed to someone else. So older investors, like for example, my mother, bless her, took the envelope and went back to the post office, like one did in the old days, and wrote on it carefully, "Not correct addressee, please return to sender."
What?
That's an old system that you used to use if you wanted it to get sent back for free by the post office. You didn't even need to put on another stamp because like it was their mistake. Yeah, so this multi-billion-dollar transaction has been delayed by 2 months as a result of this snafu, and now they're going to have to print another whole set of prospectuses on another whole wheelbarrow load of paper in order to send it out to the shareholders before this transaction can proceed. Talk about unlocking value, my goodness. The mighty Zimdollar is back. Yes! How wonderful. Zimbabwe. Yes, an economy so badly managed that they had runaway inflation back in the day. Who can forget those fabulous $1 trillion Zim banknotes? Inflation was running so fast they couldn't even issue the banknotes fast enough. They were worth less than the paper they were printed on, which had to be flown in from Germany. Anyway, after the economy completely collapsed under Bob Mugabe, they stopped issuing Zimdollar banknotes and forced everybody on the streets just to use whatever US banknotes they could find, or maybe some pula from Botswana or some rands from South Africa. They've been trying for a while now to normalize matters in their new economy, and this week, out of the blue, they announced that no other currency other than their new Zimdollars will be accepted. Simultaneously, they announced that the central bank interest rate would be hiked to 50% per annum.
What?
Meanwhile, they have pegged petrol prices. So they've got a big currency scam literally operating on the highways. People buy petrol inside of Zimbabwe in trucks and drive it to sell in Zimbabwe and in Botswana and South Africa. So you can see the economy is still an absolute shambles. I think this Zimdollar is going to go the same as the old Zimdollar. Soon we'll be dusting off those crap jokes, like the one about what do you call the US rapper 50 Cent in Zimbabwe? Yeah, his name there would be $500 billion. Or there's another one, hang on. There's this one, yes, look at this sign that appeared in a real toilet in Zimbabwe back in the day. See what it says there? Only toilet paper, no Zimdollars. There is a hedge fund in the United Kingdom called H2O, which is experiencing liquidity issues. Well done. Yes, that's the joke. Hang on, you don't get it? Seriously? Okay, wait, let me break this down. H2O is the chemical symbol for water, right? And water is normally liquid. Yeah, okay, and H2O Hedge Management is a crappy hedge fund. You know, the kind of things which smart finance types sell to idiot institutional investors, greedy ones that think they're going to make mega gains. Meanwhile, the hedge fund is really just a remuneration device masquerading as an asset class. What they did in this case at H2O Asset Management is they took the money that investors gave them and went out and bought a whole bunch of shitty bonds from shitty German and other European countries. And those companies are now in trouble and are not servicing the bonds. And as a result, the returns of H2O Capital have been terrible. Now investors are trying to pull the money out. Unfortunately, they cannot sell those shitty bonds in the fund, and as a result, the fund is experiencing a liquidity problem. In other words, they can't pay their investors back, and said flows have been frozen. Hang on, I'm killing myself here. Frozen, the H2O has been frozen. Exactly, that's what happens to water when it gets frozen. Okay, something silly to end the blunders on a high note. Have you heard that claw machine games are making a huge comeback in China? Mm-hmm. Claw machine games, that's, like those arcade things. It's like a glass box, and it's got a bunch of cheap toys at the bottom, and then there's a mechanical arm, and you've got to try and grab the toy, and you're outside the box and you're using a little lever. I know, it's amazing, but arcade games are hugely popular again, and people have been going wild for these things. The central bank in Taiwan has even had to issue more 10 Taiwan dollar coins in order to cope with the craze. There are websites where people swap out toys that they get from these boxes. There are even online tutorials that help you to instruct you on how to operate the little lever in order to get the best results from the crane.
Wow.
Finally, arcade game owners are loving it, and some of them are even going an extra mile and inserting their own special gifts and toys and prizes into the machines. There was a story about one fellow who had put in a load of Calvin Klein underwear, fake Calvin Klein underwear. They were so popular it caused a riot in the mall.
Wow.
In any event, all things leading to unintended consequences. A picture here of a young girl who, while her mom's back was turned, climbed inside the machine in order to try and retrieve a toy. Well, that's a good system. She climbed in the flap. Apparently it took the mall security people half an hour to get her out. But I suppose even they weren't quite as skilled at using the claw than they might have been, and using the claw to get the little girl out of the box.